Well, hey guys, what's up? It's your boy AI Legends, and today I am back with the next part of what if Naruto had infinite chakra and was neglected by his family. So, without any further ado, let us start our video. But before starting this video, I would like to make a request to all of you guys who are watching this video. If you guys are new to this channel or if you guys have not subscribed yet, please guys do so because it will help me a lot as I want to reach 10k as quick as possible. So, it will really help me a lot. So, without any further ado, let us start our video. Last time we left off, as we saw in the Chunin exams, as in the previous part we went through the preliminaries exam as well as the Forest of Death where Naruto decimated Orochimaru as Orochimaru had to flee as he was in pure pain and anger, vowing that how he is going to kill that Uzumaki brat and is not going to let him escape from his wrath. So without any further ado, let us start our video as it was Kiyomi versus Mito, Uzumaki, Namikaze as Jiraiya and everyone was there as Jiraiya had a smirk on his face as Tsunade said, "Hey, what did you do, huh? In this whole month, I barely saw you." As Jiraiya only laughed and said, "Well, I was out of the village, I have my research to do." As Tsunade has a tick mark on her head, while on the other hand, Minato was a bit suspicious about the action of his sensei as Mito arrived as Tsunade said, "So, who do you think is going to win this match?" As Jiraiya said, "Well, obviously, Mito is going to win. There's no way that Uchiha girl is going to beat her. And you know it." As Tsunade said, "Well, that Kiyomi girl is also strong. She has a great Genjutsu master, as well as it seems that she has same talent as Itachi." As Jiraiya said, "Well, no worries there. Mito is strong enough to take her down." As Kushina said, "Well, we did train them, so I guess that we should have faith in our child." As Minato agreed with that. As Minato said, "So I have to go back as all the Kages are waiting for me." As Kushina agreed. As Minato simply flashed away to the Kage booth once again. And now it is about time. Kiyomi versus Mito, Uzumaki, Namikaze, and Naruto gives a thumbs up to Kiyomi as he smiled and sunshine into the stadium as Proctor arrived and said, "Alright guys, now it's about time for the next match of the Chunin exam final, Mito Uzumaki Namikaze versus Kiyomi Uchiha." As everyone was cheering, as Fugaku, Itachi, as everyone were really proud for Sasuke as well as Kiyomi. As Fugaku said, "Well, my daughter is definitely going to win this match." As Itachi only looked towards him with the emotionless face, thinking that why did he even stay near to his father? Now he has to listen to his father temper and all. As he sighed, as everyone was watching the battle, as Naruto noticed that Manma was also there and there was something strange about both of them. As for Naruto, he simply shrugged it off for now. As for Sasuke, he was getting ready for the next match which was coming up. As Kiyomi said, "Alright, it's about time that I win this match and get to the next match." As Mito laughed and said, "Well, do you honestly believe that you are strong enough to take me down, huh? Perhaps you have forgotten I'm the child of prophecy." As Mito only scoffed at that and said, "Well, who cares about some old toad's prophecy? Well, I do not care about it either way. Even if you are the child of prophecy or the child of Hokage or even Hokage, I'm going to beat your ass right here and right now." As Mito gritted her teeth and said, "Well, you talk too much for an Uchiha, that is. Well, we all know that Uchihas are nothing compared to we Uzumakis, and I'm going to teach you that." As Kiyomi only scoffed and said, "Well, we shall see about it." As Proctor arrived and said, "Are both of you ready?" As both of them looked towards Proctor and agreed and nodded their head, and Proctor said, "Alright, the next match begins." As they jumped out of the way, as both of them came into their stances, as Mito rushed towards Kiyomi with incredible speed, surprising many Chunis as she was really fast. But while on the other hand, Kiyomi activated her 3 Tomoe Sharingan, started to dodge all the attacks like they were nothing. As Mito was getting pissed at that as she made some distance and go through hand sign and said, "Fire style, great fireball jutsu." As Kiyomi laughed and said, "Well, do you honestly believe that you can overpower an Uchiha in the fire style?" As she go through hand signs and then pick out a lot of fire out of her mouth as a big fireball rushed towards Mito. As both of these attacks simply cancel each other out as there was a big boom. As then when the smoke cleared out, as Mito had made several clones as all of them had Rasengans in their hand, as Mito let the shadow clones attack as Jiraiya smirked and said, "Well, see that, Tsunade? Mito is going to win this, no trouble whatsoever." As Tsunade said, I wouldn't say that it is going to be easy, Jiraiya. Well, She is strong. Let's see about it. As Mito smirked as she quickly go through hand signs and said, "Here goes nothing." Wind style, great breakthrough as a circular dome of wind burst from her hand and then rushed towards all the shadow clones, dispelling them. As Mito gritted her teeth, that was her best jutsu. As she said, "Alright, you asked for it." As she closes her eyes and then when opened it as it was slitted. As Mito smirked as he rushed towards Kiyomi. But Kiyomi's 3-Tomo Sharingan was able to keep up with Mito's speed without any trouble whatsoever, as Mito was getting now frustrated with his all as a tail started to burst from the back of Mito. As she started to attack more ferocity as everyone was watching this battle, as Naruto was now getting a bit angry that both Manma and Mito always use the power of the 9 tails. As Jiraiya said, "How now? This battle is already over." As Tsunade was glaring, or you can say narrowing her eyes down the ground as she said, "Jiraiya, it is not right to use the Kyuubi's power in the Junin exams. I know that both of them have the power, but it is not wise to rely on it." As Jiraiya said, "Well, they are gifted with the power and this is the power who's going to bring peace to the ninja world. So they have to use it and master it, Tsunade." As Tsunade did not say anything. At this moment, she could feel that Jiraiya is a lost cause. As Mito was now getting furious as 2 tails arrived. As then Kiyomi made some distance, already knowing that her speed and ferocity is really dangerous for her and she cannot keep up with that speed and power even with her Tomoe Sharingan, while Itachi was still stoic on his face, while on the other hand Fugaku and everyone was pretty angry that this brat was using the power of the 9 tails to overpower her. As Kiyomi smirked and said, "Well, against the 9 tails power, you know, the best thing against it, even better than seals." As she smirked as her eyes started to rotate as putting Mito in a strong Genjutsu. As Mito's eyes widened as she could feel that she was in a Genjutsu. After all, she had complete control over her chakra. As she quickly dispelled the jutsu, but then she saw a fist was planted on her face, sending her flying as fist was enhanced with chakra. As Mito was slammed into the wall as she growled at that and then rushed towards Kiyomi once again. As Kiyomi smirked, putting her in a Genjutsu, showing her that Kiyomi is moving on the right, while on the other hand she was moving on the left as dodging all her attacks and delivering several attacks on Mito. As Mito was now getting frustrated, these small Genjutsus was simply distracting her. Kiyomi already knowing that with the power of the Kyuubi, it is hard to put her in a Genjutsu for a long time, so these small Genjutsus were only for distraction. As Tsunade said, "Well, that is great tactic." As Tsunade agreed with that, as Jiraiya said, "Well, it is not that impressive, you know." As Mito was still going to win, as now Mito was getting frustrated. As Kiyomi smirked and said, "Alright, it's about time that I end this battle." As she quickly put her in a small Genjutsu once again and quickly go through hand signs and then said, "Lightning style, Chidori," as she rushed towards the Mito with incredible speed, piercing the Chidori through her shoulder. As Mito let out a scream as she was brought out of her Genjutsu as lightning was simply coursing through her body as she was on the ground, as huffing and puffing as the 9th chakra was reverting back to her body. As Kiyomi was also panting really hard as she had to use a lot of the abilities of the Sharingan. And she was really tired after this battle, though she avoided most of the physical attacks, but still, thanks to her Sharingan, she was able to subdue some of the 9th chakra as well, while Mito was gritting her teeth. "No, I will not be defeated by you, you damn bitch, I'm going to win this," as she let out a roar, and 2 tails once again arrived at the back of her, and then the curse mark started to spread all over her body as the markings were all over, as Minato's eyes widened, as Orochimaru had a smirk on his face, as Tsunade and Kushina looked towards Jiraiya. "Jiraiya, didn't you seal the curse mark?" As Jiraiya only looked towards them and said, "Well, I did seal it, don't worry about it. She has complete control over the power of the curse mark." As Tsunade said, "Jiraiya, that is not the point. I told you to seal the curse mark permanently." As Jiraiya said, "Well, they have to use the power. They need the power to save the world, Tsunade. You do not understand it. And don't worry, just like the 9 days, we can use the power of the curse mark as well." As Tsunade gritted her teeth as she grabbed Jiraiya from her collar and said, "Damn you, Jiraiya, you do not understand Orochimaru? Are you out of your mind already?" As Jiraiya said, "Don't worry, I have put the seals on the curse mark. They will not be influenced by it, I guarantee it." As Kushina said, "You better guarantee it, Jiraiya, because if anything happened to my children because of that damn curse mark you did not seal away, I'm going to beat you down to the ground until nothing left of you. As Jiraiya only gulped, as Orochimaru had a smirk on his face. This special curse mark was made specially for the Jinchurikis, so that he could put on all the Jinchurikis and use them against the Akatsuki if the need ever to arise. As Minato was not happy about it whatsoever, as the curse mark started to spread over her body as she had a maniac smirk on his face before Kiyomi even noted, as if punch was slammed into her face, sending her flying into the wall. As Mito did not stop there, as she burst after her and then started to attack over and over again, as Kiyomi tried her best using her 3 Tomo Sharingan and tried to make some distance, but Curse Mark along with the 2 Tails power was way too much for Kiyomi to handle. At this point, Nito was a Jonin level shinobi as she started to beat down on Kiyomi merciless, and the end of the day, as Kiyomi was on the ground as she was bleeding from her mouth as well as from her eyes as well, thanks to using a lot of Sharingan and beatdown she got from Mito, as Mito was smirking. Now it's about time that I get rid of you, as she made a Rasengan ready to slam it onto the ground, but before she could do that, Proctor arrived. Alright, this match is over, as Kiyomi was already knocked out as Mito was about to slam the Rasengan into her as she glared at the Proctor, as Proctor did not move, telling her that if she slammed that attack on her, she's going to be disqualified, as she scoffed and simply dispersed the attack as well as the 9th chakra, though she had to put a bit of effort to distract the curse mark into the mark once again, as she had a smirk on his face, pretty proud that she has beaten down the Uchiha bitch. As she went back, while on the other hand, all the Uchihas, Fugaku and even Itachi, everyone could see the anger in their eyes. That damn brat used the power of the QB, and on top of it, she even used the power gifted to her by the traitor Orochimaru, and they were not happy about it. And Minato knew about it as he sighed, already knowing that this was coming, as he only gritted his teeth and angered towards his sensei, who was not understanding what type of power to be used to bring peace, and he even started to doubt if Manma and Mito are the child of prophecy to begin with, as Naruto seemed to be most of the candidate in his mind. As while on the other hand, Jiraiya did not want to admit it whatsoever, as even Tsunade and Kushina started to realize that if the prophecy is ever to be true, it could only be Naruto, and Menma and Mito could not be the child of prophecy. And Naruto was pretty angry. After all, it was her crush got beaten up pretty badly by her so-called sister, and he was not happy about it whatsoever, as he went to Kiyomi, who was pretty badly beaten, as the doctors took her to the hospital ready to heal her, as Naruto looked towards Sasuke, as Sasuke was also gritting his teeth as well as grabbing the railing tight, as the proctor arrived and said, alright, the next match is going to be Naruto Uzumaki versus Sasuke Uchiha, as everyone was starting to calm down as Sasuke looked towards Naruto even with his anger, as he had a smirk on his face as he said, alright Naruto, it seems that the match has finally arrived, huh? It would be a great match, I can tell you that. As Naruto only smirked at that and said, well Sasuke, we shall see about it. Sorry guys, I have to change it, as let's say that it is going to be Sasuke versus Menma Uzumaki Namikaze, because Naruto has already fought the Neji and I forgot about it, so it is going to be Sasuke versus Menma, as Sasuke landed and said, well, I'm not going to be beaten up like my sister, those damn brats. Use the power of the QB if you want to. I'm still going to win this match. Pretty angry that his sister got beaten up, as Naruto only nodded at that, wanted to see how strong Menma has gotten in this time, as Menma also landed to the ground as Naruto entered into his mindscape. So Kurama, how much chakra you have regained? As Kurama had a smirk on his face and said, well, I have gained over 40% of my chakra back thanks to all the training your godfather was giving to these 2 brats. Now both of them only had 3 to 4 tails power left in them, and don't worry, it will return back in due time. As Naruto smirked at that, well, that is the only good thing came from this battle, though he was still angry that his so-called sister beat his crush. So Without any further ado, let us start the match. As Manma had a smirk on his face and he said, "So Uchiha, just like my sister did to yours, it's about time that I show the Uchiha clan their true place against the true Uzumakis and Namakazes." As Sasuke gritted his teeth and said, "Well, the only way your sister beat my sister was thanks to the power of the QB. Without it, both of you are nothing and could never obtain anything without the power of the QB, while on the other hand, my sister fought bravely even when your sister used the QB's power, and she has to rely on the power of the Orochimaru, that damn pedophile snake traitor. And you are going to use that power, don't you, huh? Well, don't worry, even if you use it, I'm still going to beat you down, Manma." As Manma only laughed and said, "Well, you're only jealous of the amazing power we have." As Sasuke only scoffed, "We are Uchihas, we do not need that power to be strong, and I'm going to show it to you by activating his 3 Tomoe Sharingan." As Manma said, "Alright, Uchiha, it's about time that I show you your true place as well, just like your sister, so bring it on, Sasuke." As Proctor said, "Alright, let's begin the match." As Sasuke came into his Tatsuo style, as Manma was standing there with a huge smirk on his face, already confident in his power. As Sasuke said, "Alright, you asked for it." As Sasuke vanished from the eyes of everyone, as Manma's eyes widened when a kick was planted on his face, sending him flying into the wall. As Sasuke did not stop there, as he moved with incredible speed behind Manma, just like Lee did to Naruto as he kicked him upward. As Naruto's eyes widened for a moment, this was the same stances which Lee was using. As Naruto smirked by looking towards Kakashi, who gave him an eye smile, as Naruto only laughed at that, as Sasuke was doing the same thing which Naruto and Lee did to each other by putting Manma in the air and kicking him, as well as attacking him over and over again. As Manma gritted his teeth, as he was not expecting this kind of speed and power, as he said, "Damn you, Uchiha!" As his eyes, you can say, became red, as the 90th chakra started to envelop Manma, as Manma let out a roar which sent Sasuke flying, but Sasuke caught himself as he landed into the ground. As Manma was now in his two-tailed state, as he growled at Sasuke and said, You got lucky, that's all." As he, you can say, cleared the blood that was coming from his mouth, while on the other hand, Kushina had a disappointed look in her eyes, along with Tsunade, while on the other hand, Jiraiya was simply cheering Manma to use the power and defeat that damn Uchiha and show him the power of the true child of prophecy. As Tsunade and Kushina only looked towards Jiraiya with, you can say, disappointments and a bit of anger in their eyes, as Manma was growling as he controlled himself and said, "Alright, Shadow Clone Jutsu." As 100 Shadow Clones arrived within the area, shocking most of the people, as even impressing Naruto a little bit, as Manma smirked as all of them had Kyuubi's chakra in them, as all of them started to make the Rasengan and started to rush towards Sasuke. As Sasuke said, "Alright, you asked for it." As he started to rush within the center, as he jumped into the air and landed within the center of all the clones, as Manma said, "Huh, we got you now, you damn Uchiha." As all the clones started to rush towards Sasuke, as Sasuke only smirked at that, as he said, "Have fun." As he burst into lightning, as it was a lightning clone, as all the clones that were around him in a specific diameter, simply all the lightning struck the clones and dispelling all of them, even if they have the QB chakra, it does not matter, as the lightning easily dispelled all the clones. As Manma gritted his teeth, but he tried to find Sasuke, but then the ground burst open as a fist was planting on the face of Manma, which sending flying into the wall. As Manma, even with Two-Tail's cloak, was slammed into the wall, as Sasuke had a smirk on his face as Manma growled. As he rushed towards Sasuke, Sasuke quickly go through hand signs and said, "Faster, Phoenix Floor Jutsu," making some distance as all the Phoenix, you can say, small fireballs started to rush towards Manma, who started to dodge all the attacks thanks to his Kyuubi's cloak. As Sasuke was now getting a bit tired, but still he activated his Sharingan, and the Sharingan started to swing as he put Manma in a Genjutsu, already learning 2 or 3 things from his brother as well as from his sister, because Sasuke was never of that Genjutsu type, but still he learned it just in case. As Manma was caught in the Genjutsu as Sasuke rushed towards him with incredible speed, punching him over and over again thanks to his enhanced chakra, and started to beat down on Manma as Manma could not even, you can say, move as Manma made some distance as Kyuubi's chakra was still healing him as Manma growled as the third tail appeared behind Manma as Manma rushed towards Sasuke as Sasuke quickly go through hand signs and said outside earth spikes as several earth spikes started to rush towards Manma blocking his way as Manma made some distance as he let out a roar destroying all the earth spikes that were there as Sasuke panicked heavily. He had just, you can say, gained the earth nature and he only know one or two jutsu defensive on that, so it always take a lot of chakra of using the earth style, but he was still determined enough to win this battle as he said, alright Manma, I was saving this but it seemed that I have to use it now, as he put his hand down and then the Chidori started to cackle around his hand as he said, oh what, as he rushed towards Manma with his full speed as Manma also rushed towards Sasuke with a Rasengan in his hand as both of these attacks simply slammed into each other as cancelling out each other as Sasuke made some distance, now panting heavily, while on the other hand Manma was also gritted his teeth. He thought that he will win this battle with whatsoever trouble, but he has to use the 3 tails of the 9 tails, but now he was pissed and he's going to beat this Uchiha to the ground as then the curse mark started to spread over his body as everyone gasped at that as Manma was using more power than Mito did as Naruto was gaining the 9 tails chakra back even more and more. At this point, Kurama had already gained around 50% or even over 50% of his chakra back as Manma let out a roar as he rushed towards Sasuke as Sasuke eyes widened as he met with a punch just like his sister as he slammed into the same crater in which Kiyomi was slammed into as Manma rushed towards him, but Sasuke quickly go through hand signs as Manma slammed him into the ground and started to punch him over and over again as Sasuke only smirked at that as he burst into lightning as he replaced before the attack, he go through hand signs and made a lightning clone and replaced himself with a log nearby, and the lightning clone was the one who was getting all the beating and Manma was now burst into lightning as Manma gritted his teeth through all the lightning. He has so much power in his hand as he smirked at Sasuke as Sasuke quickly go through hand signs and said fire style, fire dragon jutsu as a face of a fire dragon rushed towards Manma as Manma let out a roar as he easily destroyed the fire dragon and rushed towards Sasuke and kicked him on his gut, sending him flying into the wall, and now with the Rasengan he slammed it into Sasuke to the ground as there was a big explosion which sent Sasuke through all the stadium and slamming him into the wall, knocking him out. As Sasuke was knocked out as Proctor arrived at his side and said, winner, Manma Uzumaki Namikaze, as Manma had a smirk on his face as he went back, as Jiraiya was also there as Tsunade was healing Mito because of her injuries and all, as Manma also arrived as he said, hey Jiraiya sensei, did you saw that how I beat that loser of an Uchiha? I'm the strongest here. As Jiraiya had a smile on his face, of course Manma, you're going to win this tournament and bring honor to the name of the child of prophecy, as Mito was also smirking as Kushina said, Manma, Mito, I'm really disappointed in both of you, as both Manma and Mito looked in shock towards her mother, as Mito said, what do you mean by that, mom? We won the match, how are you disappointed in us? As Manma said, yeah, the only disappointment here is that damn loser of a brother we have that is sitting there, the disgrace to the name of ours. It is good that father has even taken the name of Uzumaki and Namikaze from him. As Mito laughed, yeah, he is such a loser, does not even deserve the name of Uzumaki and Namikaze. But before she could say anything, both Manma and Mito met with a slap to both of their faces, as both of them looked in shock towards Kushina, who had an angry look in her eyes as she said, how dare you, he's your brother, remember that. And the only reason he's not having the name of Uzumaki and Namikaze because he has founded his own clan thanks to his new Kekkei Genkai. And Mito only scoffed, what type of loser could... No, that loser could not have any type of Kekkei Genkai. It would be nothing but useless of a Kekkei Genkai. I bet that. As Manma agreed with that and they said, how did you, mom? Why did you hit us, Because of that damn loser? Isn't that right? As everyone was simply looking towards them. As Tsunade said, alright, Mito, that is enough. I have heard more than enough from both of you. As both of them give her a look of glare. As Tsunade was pretty surprised. She never thought that her own god children will give her that type of look that people give to an enemy. As Mito only scoffed, well, let's go, Manma. They will never be proud of us because of that damn loser, that failure. As Manma agreed, as he said, yeah, let's go, Mito. We are going to win this match, and when we fight him, we're going to beat him down by using our power of the Nine Tails. As Tsunade and Kushina had a disappointed look in their eyes as Jiraiya was simply glaring at both of them, at Mito, and Manma went off as Jiraiya speak up. Well, Kushina, Tsunade, I'm really disappointed in both of you. How could you even do that? Do you not know the importance of Manma and Mito? They are the childs of but before he could say anything, as Tsunade grabbed him from his shirt and pulled him close and said, Jiraiya, just remember this, they are not the child of prophecy. The prophecy you told us, both of them could never become the one to bring peace if they cannot even bring peace to themselves and cannot be together with their brother. They can never bring peace to this world. And I can tell you now that you have underestimated the prophecy or exaggerated it way too much. Both of them can never save this world from anything because they do not even have the power to save themselves. As she throws Jiraiya back, as Kushina also speak up, and Jiraiya, didn't you told them even if they can master the power of the Nine Tails, more they use it, more their lifespan will only decrease, and do not rely on the power of the Nine Tails only. They have to become strong. You can see that how much of a great of a multiplier the Nine Tails power actually is, but still, even with they using the power, both Sasuke and Kiyomi were able to keep up with both of them. So both of them are actually stronger than both Manma and Mito. As Jiraiya gritted, he said, what are you talking about, Kushina? You don't know anything. They are the child of prophecy, and remember that I'm going to prove it to you, both of you and everyone, that they are the child of prophecies. As he went off after both Manma and Mito to confront both of them. As now let us go to the next match. It is going to be Naruto versus Gaara of the Sand. Let's see about it. As then a Ambu landed and then said something into the ears of the proctor as he agreed and said, well, according to the request of the Daniels, it is going to be a three-way match which is going to be Yugito Ni versus Gaara and Uzumaki Naruto. The Eternal Naruto. As everyone was pretty surprised because this never happened, as Yugito Ni stood up and simply sunk into the ground, into the stadium, as Naruto did the same thing, as well as Gaara also arrived, as all three of them were standing in front of each other, as Proctor said, alright, are you guys ready? As all three of them simply looked towards each other and nodded at that. As then Proctor said, alright, the next match begins, as he quickly jumped back as Yugito came to her fighting stance, as well as Naruto, as Gaara's sand started to move around him as he burst towards Yugito, ready to defeat her so that he can fight off against this guy. After all, his mother wants the blood of this eternal Naruto. As Yugito easily moved around to attack as he quickly go through hand sign, and then blue flames started to rush towards Gaara's sand, turning it into glass as Gaara's eyes widened, and then the face of anger arrived on his face as he started to send more spikes and sand bullets towards Yugito as she was dodging all these attacks. As then Gaara became angry as Naruto was watching all of this, looking if he can intervene or if he should let this fight to be continued. After all, he is more like Itachi, as he started to see the battle where it actually goes and if it becomes dangerous, already knowing that both of them are Jinchurikis. As Yurito said, so you have the one tails inside of you. Well, two tails. Kid already told me that, as Gaara did not say anything as he was becoming angry as the more and more sand was rushing towards Yugito. As Yugito only smirked as she started to, her features became more like cat-like as she quickly go through hand sign, and then the mouse of fire came out of her mouth and rushed towards Gaara, exploding on the sand and making it into glass. As Gaara clutches head and said, Mother want blood of both of you. You will not deny me my sacrifice. As he let out a scream of pain as half of his body turned into the sand demon. As Orochimaru was thinking if he should continue the invasion right here, but he had to see how this battle actually goes, because if Naruto as well as the two tails Jinchuriki is there, they would easily subdue him, so he has to wait for now. As Naruto was also ready, as a lot of sand simply rushed towards Yugito, ready to, you can say, crash her. As she tried to jump away, but then the sand started to appear from the ground as most of the arena started to turn into sand. As Naruto made some distance, still watching the battle, if he should intervene or not, thinking about it, and who he should fight first. But still, he was still keeping his distance, as Yugito was now looking towards Gaara. As then she let out a roar and one tail started to appear behind her, and then the two tails also arrived. As she said, well, I was not going to use it, but it seemed that you're getting unstable here, as Gaara's whole body almost turned into mini Shikaku, as both of them rushed towards each other and started to fight off against each other. As Gaara was now getting maniac, as Orochimaru was thinking of starting the invasion right there and then, as Yugito was having a bit of trouble, as a lot of sand from downward as well as grabbed her feet, and then a storm, you can say, a tsunami of sand was about to crush her. As Yugito closes her eyes, but then you can say she saw that how someone grabbed her and simply burst out of there, as whole sand crashed into the ground, as it was Naruto as he grabbed her and then put her into the ground. As Yugito was still looking towards the blue eyes of Naruto, as Naruto simply put her down and said, well, it seems that this one is getting a bit crazy, so we should handle him first, right? As Yugito only agreed with that, as Naruto said, alright, allow me to do the honors. As Naruto quickly go through hand signs and then slam it into the ground, and then suddenly the wood spikes started to arrive from the ground, and all the shinobis of the village were in utter shock. Even Minato and Kushina did not knew about it. As Tsunade said, what? Mokidan? But how? As Kushina said, there's only one explanation. It seemed that he must have met Yamato, who had the Mokidan, and thanks to Naruto's overwhelming chakra, he can use it even better than Yamato. As all the wood spikes started to rush towards Gaara, grabbing him and restraining his chakra. Inside of the head of Gaara, the one tail was screaming in pain, as his chakra was being suppressed. As Naruto rushed towards Gaara with incredible speed, as his hands were simply, all five fingers were simply glowing, as Naruto's, you can say, slam his hand into the gut of Gaara, as Orochimaru's eyes widened and then pure anger filled his eyes. This brat has sealed away Shikaku, the main weapon he was going to use against Konoha, and now the invasion has become even more tougher, as the one tail was sealed away. As Naruto said, so this is over. As then he looked towards Yugito, who was still in surprise that this kid has the power of the Mokitan. As the two-tailed cat was telling Yugito to make some distance and end this battle right here and right now, otherwise he is going to restrain her chakra and she is going to lose. As Yugito agreed, as Naruto smiled and said, don't worry, we will have our fun. As he put Gaara near the proctor, who nodded and bring him out, as Gaara was knocked out, or rather sleeping, which really surprised Temari as well as Kankuro. As Naruto only smirked at that and said, alright, if you are worry about that, I'm going to use the power of the Mokitan to suppress your chakra. So don't worry, because I'm not going to use the power of the wood style against you. As Yugito was pretty surprised, because most often the shinobi only take advantage whatever there is in their arsenal, while on the other hand Roikage was in utter awe as he said, Minato, I did not knew that you had another Mokitan user, and your son nonetheless. How did he get the abilities of the first Hokage? He's not even a Senju. As Minato only looked towards Raikage and said, well, Raikage, that's a village secret, can't say. As Raikage only gritted his teeth, as well as Orochimaru was in utter shock. This kid not only have more chakra than a Biju, and also have the wood style, and it seems that he has great control over it, and also the Monkey Q Sharingan, and now unknowingly Orochimaru was slitting his As Orochimaru was thinking, if he gets the body of this kid, how he's going to be invincible with the power of the Mangekyo Sharingan, Mokitan, and that amount of chakra, he will be unstoppable. And he was wondering if this kid is hiding even more secrets and wondering how did this kid even have all of these abilities to begin with. As while on the other hand, Naruto was simply smirking as he said, alright Yugito, let's begin this battle of ours. As Yugito smirked and said, alright, it seems that you will not use the power of Mokitan. Well, you're lost. As he rushed towards Naruto with incredible speed and ferocity, ready to end this battle as quick as possible. As Naruto started to dodge all of her attacks as he was dancing around the area, as Yugito was pretty surprised because being the Jinchuriki of a cat and with the flexibility she actually has, she was one of the fastest in the Kiri in the Cloud Village beside the Raikage. As she was pretty fast, but Naruto was dodging all of her attacks as he was moving with incredible speed. As Naruto did not even activate his Sharingan as he quickly go through hand sign inside fast style, Great Fireball Jutsu as she also smirked as she used the blue fireball as well, overpowering Naruto's fireball as Naruto only smirked as he slammed his hand into the ground as then an earth wall arrived and cancel out the attack as Yugito only smirked and said, well, you cannot overpower me while using the fire. You have to use some other elements, that is. As Naruto said, huh, alright. As Yugito said, well, too bad, there is no water. The water style would have been pretty effective against me. As Naruto only smirked, huh, you don't say, huh. As Naruto quickly go through hand signs and then suddenly the water from the air started to get around Naruto as it turned into the spikes. As Yugito's eyes widened, she did not knew that Naruto could use the water from the atmosphere as she curses her tongue for not being in her control as all the spikes of water started to rush towards her as even though she was not using the fire chakra or the fire of the Nibi, but still these attacks were dangerous as Naruto only smirked as he simply vanished, and before Yugito even knew, a fist was slammed into her gut and then which sent her flying as Naruto arrived at back of her and then grabbed her from back as Yugito said, you damn pervert, but then Naruto burst into the lightning itself as she let out a scream of pain as she glared at Naruto, who only laughed and said, well, my intention was not to be a pervert, sorry if you thought that. As Yugito still glared at Naruto, who was getting a bit, you can say, flustered, as everyone, most of the people were laughing, even though they already knew that it was the technique, how to use the lightning clone, but still. How the things turned out differently as Yugito glared at Naruto. Alright, now I'm not going to hold back as two tails flare around Yugito as she was now using the full power of the Nibi as she rushed towards Naruto with incredible speed as Naruto smirked as both of them engaged in a taijutsu battle. She tried to scratch his face thanks to her nails, but Naruto was dodging all of it as he said, alright, this battle is mine, as he slammed his, you can say, fist into her face, sending her flying and then kicking her over into the air, making several shadow clones as all of them started to deliver the Uzumaki barrage, or rather the eternal barrage on her, sending her flying into the ground as Naruto appeared in front of her as she was now huffing and puffing as she said, how are you this strong? It simply cannot be. As Naruto only smiled and said, well, I train a lot. As Yujiro was about to, you can say, rush towards Naruto, Naruto said, well, I can see that this chakra is hurting your body, you should not use it anymore, as Nibi was warning Yujiro as well. But Yujiro said, no, I have to win this battle and bring honor to the name of Cloud Village, as Naruto only sighed and said, well, it seems that I have to end this battle. As Yugito rushed towards Naruto, still having two tails cloak around her, as Naruto only moved around the attack and then bring out a small seal from his pouch and slam it on the head of Yugito, as all the two tails chakra started to revert back into her body as her eyes started to go heavy, as she finally closes her eyes as Naruto grabbed her and then Proctor arrived and said, well, it seems that this match is over. The winner is Eternal Naruto, as everyone burst into cheers, as everyone was pretty surprised and impressed, while on the other hand, the Uchiha clan was also impressed. Though Itachi was wondering why he did not use the power of the Sharingan, but deep down he already knew that. He just wanted to prove that even without the Sharingan, he can take down a Jinchuriki if he so desires. As the proctor arrived and said, alright, this match is over and the winner is Eternal Naruto, as the medics finally took away the Nibi, Jinchuriki, Yugito, as all the clouds were simply, you can say, cloud shinobi were simply defeated, and even Temari was defeated by Omoe, as both of them simply knocked each other out. So that was that, and now it's about time for the final battle, the finale of the Chunin exam, which is going to be a three-way match, a battle royal between three siblings, which is going to be Namikaze, Uzumaki, Manma, Uzumaki, Namikaze, Mito, and finally the eternal Naruto seems to be the champion of the whole tournament, as everyone was cheering. As Proctor said, well, here we have a half an hour break, and after this break we're going to fight, or rather we are going to have the final battle of the Chunin exams, the battle royal. Uzumaki, as he let their names out, as everyone was cheering, as Naruto and Sai, as they went back, as Kiyomi, as Sasuke were already back thanks to the healing which Tsunade gave both of them. After all, it was her grandchildren who beat both of them, as Sasuke and Kiyomi were looking to the ground, as Fugaku was standing in front of them, as well as Itachi, as Sasuke said, "Father, I'm sorry, I was not able to beat him." As Kiyomi said, "Yeah, father, we are really sorry." But before both of them could say anything, as Fugaku gave both of them a hug, as which really shocked both of them. Even Itachi's eyes widened, as Fugaku said, "Well, my children, I'm really proud of both of you. Both of you have proven you hold your own against two Jinchurikis who are using the power of the Nine Tails. Even if they did not have the power of the Nine Tails, they would have been nothing, and you have really bring honor to the name of an Uchiha," as all the Uchihas were looking towards them with proud eyes, as Naruto only smiled at that, as Naruto only looked back for some time towards Minato, but he simply shook those thoughts out of his head and then finally looked towards Kiyomi, who gave her a nod as she said, "Well, Naruto-kun, it seems that you won your match, huh?" As Fugaku and everyone already went off, as Sasuke said, "Well, it seems that you're going to be in finals with your siblings, huh? Well, I wish I could have fought you. Well, I would have beaten your ass." As Naruto only laughed and said, "Well, Sasuke, we could always fight after this Chunin exams ends, and trust me, I'm going to beat your ass, not the other way around." As Sasuke only laughed, as well as Kiyomi. As Itachi said, "Alright, Naruto-kun, well, that was pretty impressive of you of defeating Nibi Jinchuriki and taking care of Gaara, though I did not knew that you could use the Moketan." As Naruto only laughed nervously and said, "Well, in this 1 month, I met a guy named, his name was Captain Yamato, and he offered me a bit of training and I accepted because of his strange chakra, and also able to copy his chakra, gaining the Moketan ability, though I could feel a bit different about myself after since, especially about my Sharingan. Whenever I use it, I feel it a bit strange about it." As Itachi's eyes widened for a moment, but then he became the stoic face and said, "Alright, Naruto-kun, well, we shall see in the last match." Well, guys, before I end this video, the like goal for the next part is going to be 350 likes and 180 comments. And yeah, guys, many people told me in the comment section that Naruto-kun is used for like Hinata used it because she has a crush on Naruto. But if you guys find it on Chrome, Google, as you will find the different meanings of kun. It is mostly used by the elders towards the kids and people like it. Though girls even use it in the original language, because I do not use it that much, but since it is mostly written in the fan fictions, as well as the, you can say, the Google give it different meaning, though giving it, you can say, permission that we can use it with many people. So that is that. I just wanted to say that. So without any further ado, let us end this video, and please guys complete the like goal and the comment goal as quick as possible so that I can make the next video and upload it today. So that is that, and yeah guys, peace.